So often we forget the starters when we entertain. Today, my most amazing appetizers come to life as we move from morning to evening with these never-fail beginning bites. I'm Porter William, and I've been entertaining, event planning, and cooking for over 25 years. Finally, I get to share my secrets with you. No matter if you have a one-room apartment or a grand scale estate, we'll learn how to entertain from San Francisco to the beaches of Spain, from menu planning to tablescapes. I'll teach you how to entertain from the heart. From a memory, make a memory. Join me as we entertain the world one table at a time, next on Entertaining People. Think of dramatic serving vessels for your first course. It teases your guest as to what's to come. Here I bake goat cheese in an antique roof tile from Europe. Well, we're well underway and coming to the close of our alfresco lunch. One of the last things is going to be a welcome appetizer, and I'm going to do this incredible baked goat cheese roof tile. We have Niçoise olives right here, a mixture of greens and darks and wine-drenched and vinegared and marinated olives right here. And then we have some wonderful Greek olives which have the pits out, so it makes it a little bit easier. Just some beautiful goat cheese that can come from any local supermarket, your trader store, whatever. Some butter and some artichoke hearts. This will knock your guest out. So you know that I'm always digging around, finding old things and coming up with things to work with. We're gonna serve this and bake it in a roof tile from Provence. How fun will that be? You wanna clean it really well. We have these down at World Relics. Grab yourself a cooking spray and spray that tile. Remember, clean it well. It's a couple hundred years old, okay? We want everything healthy for our guest. It is as simple as taking our ingredients, these beautiful blocks of cheese. It's all gonna get cooked, so you don't really have to worry about how it goes in. Pile that up. This is the fun part. Take the butter in your hands. Oh, that is fantastic. And just slather the butter on the cheese. That's all you have to do. You know, years ago, I went to school in Tucson, Arizona, and I had what was called my first family, Bill and Jeanette. And they were kind of a host family when I was just getting started in life. And I remember Jeanette entertaining and cooking, and she took me to this fantastic Mexican restaurant in Tucson where their first course was a baked cheese. I had never tasted anything like it. It was broiled, it was bubbly, it was crispy around the edges, and it just was stringy and luscious, and it was just an amazing flavor. It was actually from Mexico City, and that was 20-some years ago, and so I've been baking cheeses ever since then. And today, because we're al fresco and we're outdoor, I want to have the feel again of Europa and Italy, and so we're going to be using this fantastic vessel in our cheeses. It's real simple. All we're going to do is sprinkle, we'll start with some of these little ones here. We're gonna reserve some of these for later because we want them to look really nice and fresh as well. So we're gonna put about half of our olives of each kind. There goes our mixture. In comes our pitted. Just kind of set them down in an arrangement. We'll reserve about half of those. And again, half of our Niçoise. Wow, that's just amazing. Then just for fun, I'm gonna go ahead and put these fantastic artichoke hearts full, just got at my local grocery store, and we're done. Oh my gosh, never forget the salt. Salt that cheese, all right, that's it. Oh, look at that, oh my gosh, that is so fun. Gotta have the salt, love the salt. It's going in your oven, that's right. An antique roof tile is gonna go in the oven, and my guests are gonna be here shortly. We're gonna start right here. Wait till you see that goat cheese come out of the oven. And this, you are gonna love. This, my friends, is baked goat cheese in a 300-year-old roof tile.
Wow.
And I am so excited to serve this to you like this. Can you imagine? Wait till you taste this. So what we have here are these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful pieces of goat cheese, just at your regular grocery store. It's that simple. And I put some of our olives all around there. Remember that when we did that earlier? And these fantastic whole artichoke bottoms. They're just absolutely stunning. And then of course we have a little butter. And the last thing on this before is this fantastic gray sea salt, the celery right on top. And if it gets a little crusty, a little drizzle of olive oil. You guys know how to do that, right? You've heard of it. You know some love. And this is why the bread is here. Who's up first? Wait till you taste these beautiful, beautiful flavors. I'm gonna warn you, some of these olives have pits in them. So
forever,
forever hold your peace once you get one in. Oh wow, let's get that up there. Let's just mound that on there. Nick.
Oh no.
Ladies first. Okay, Shosh.
So often we forget the starters when we entertain. Today, my most amazing appetizers come to life as we move from morning to evening with these never-fail beginning bites.
And the first thing that we're gonna do is what I call my mom's pate. And we're starting off with our ingredients. This is actually a chicken liver base. So we have our fresh chicken livers, about 1 pound here. We have hard-boiled eggs. We're gonna use 3 or 4 at the end. We've got some white wine here, some red onion, which we've got already diced and ready to go. We've got a cube of butter. We'll always have to have our butter in there. Some hot spiced pepper sauce, French cornichons, some dill, and some parsley. And the first thing that we do, I already have it back here on the stove. Some onions with some bacon, and that's gonna be the base of what we're gonna be cooking to start. And what we're gonna do here is we just simply want a light saute. We're actually looking to render the fat and cook up some onions so that this gives us a base. All this is gonna get ground up in a food processor. What has to happen is that we need things cooked through so that the color of the pate is pure. So we're gonna keep the heat high on that, and I'm gonna grab my chicken livers. These are fresh, cleaned, and rinsed, but you wanna put them in there with the sauce all together. We'll set that aside, and you can hear those livers hitting that bacon fat, and that's exactly what we wanna have happen here. You can go up to the high heat, and we'll just let that sit there and saute for just a moment. So let's check our chicken livers and some of our onions, and those look great. Now what I'm gonna do really quickly is I'm gonna add my red onion. Oh, that smells wonderful. Now I'm doing this at the end because I like a little punch on this. I don't want it to be all cooked away, so just a little bit of red onion right there. And let's take our flame back up. And at this point, we're gonna deglaze with some great white wine. You see all that sizzling? And we're gonna pour that in there, and that's gonna give us exactly what we wanna do. Now, hot liquids, be careful when you're coming around your kitchen. So from the hearth, I'm coming right back to my board, and we're gonna go right into the food processor with this. So again, tricky and careful. No kids in the kitchen when you're doing this. You always wanna pour it away from you into the food processor. Everything is cooked thoroughly. The bacon, our onions, our fresh red on top. That's gonna give it the high notes and the flavor, just like in a symphony, right? It's mom's pate, I've gotta do her well. Actually, I remember my mother making this for the first time. My parents joined a gourmet club when they were, well, I don't know how old they were, but I was fairly young. And they each had recipes that they had to make each and every month, and they all got together at each other's houses. And I remember my mother making one of Julia Child's pates. And I'm telling you, if you have guests who hate liver pate, they'll love this. It's more of a chopped liver, so it's not a heavy French or European pate, but it's as simple as that. And right now, we're gonna use our handy food processor, safe and easy, and we are just gonna, this is a creamy pate, so I'm gonna let this go for a while, and I'm gonna talk loud, just like when you hear my fan go above me on the stove. Just gonna pulse it a little bit, and I look for this beautiful taupey brown color that's in there. Now I'm just gonna let it go. It's as simple as this. Pull your top off, and you can drop in your butter, and start again. And then right in the middle of this, we're gonna just drop in a whole egg, one. We're gonna do 2 eggs, that's gonna give it some texture. I always got a smell to that. So what I'm trying to correct is the consistency of the wine. Here's some red pepper sauce, anything from Louisiana, hot, that works wonderful. That's just gonna give it some balance. Right now I wanna smell the dill. And my parsley all the way in. Here we go. We should be there. That really is just about it. It's really that simple. Okay, now I'm using my nose because God gave it to me, and your nose and your mouth are connected. So if it doesn't smell good, it's not gonna taste good. So think about the flavors and the smells. What I'm getting right now out of this is the white wine, the dill's coming through, and that real savory smell of the bacon and the onions that have come together. So I'm also using my mother's French pate terrine. There's a funny story that my mother always said, boy, I'd love to have a pate terrine like that. And one time my father came back from Europe and carried this in his luggage. You should have seen security while he was trying to get this through, because it is cast iron. This is Le Creuset, one of the best that you can buy, and they last forever. Careful careful, when you unlock your processor, we're gonna lift it up. It's as simple as that. And that liquid consistency is very important because I'm just filling the tureen all the way up. You see it steaming up there? Wow, that is really great. Before I put it in the refrigerator, I take your basic store-bought egg slicer. I slice one of my boiled eggs, again, an ingredient inside and an ingredient on top. And I like to just lay those eggs right on top, okay? Reach over here, grab a sprig of that parsley. We're gonna set it right on the edge. We're gonna cover this and put it in the refrigerator for tonight. Exactly like it should have. Put that on your cutting board, it's a little hot. Grab a good spatula, push that off and onto your board, and you can see how lovely that is. Remember, we have got 6 guests, and I've got these 3 lines that are giving me just a perfect natural division. I'm gonna cut right into them. This is a pretty substantial, hearty starter. So I want to be fairly light on those, but did you see our cut lines, how perfectly those came out? I'm just going to add one, and I always love the ends. Kind of like with the piece of a prime rib, I always ask who wants the end cut. And then we have our red pepper sauce, which we're just going to drizzle right on the edge, just to have a little extra flavor. Look at that color, that looks absolutely beautiful. And of course, we'll hit it with our fresh herbs right on the top. So there you have it, a puff pastry, shirred onions and mushrooms, beautiful cheeses with a savory bell pepper sauce as a starter for our great dinner. Here at Swirl on Castro in San Francisco, and I'm getting ready to unpack my take-in, take-out. I get so confused, but the point of it is that you can actually bring food in to most tasting clubs. So make sure you call ahead and ask them. But what I wanted to do is come up with something that was going to be a perfect pair for the wine, and I've tested something that they don't even know about. Swirl sells this great wine wheel, and I took it down to my favorite cheese person. Her name's Viv, she's from Denmark, and I tested her. So I use this little wheel, and it's as simple as this. I actually can move to, let's say, Bordeaux, all right? And I can read right down here, Saint-Emilion, Sauvignon Blanc. It gives me some menu directions, such as salmon, horseradish, lobster, oyster, scallops, and then it tells me right there what kind of cheese to pair with it, a dry goat cheese. So without anybody knowing, I took this handy dandy little wheel to put it to the test, and guess what? It worked. It was 100% on with every single cheese that Viv chose. So it's $5.95 here at Swirl and available at entertainingpeople.com. The first thing that she set me up with was this fantastic Point Reyes Blue. Now we're drinking red, great blue cheese. It's from Northern California. The next one is a Spanish Manchego, and this is harder. It feels more like a Parmesan, and let me tell you, this is soft and beautiful once you get it inside, creamy and easy to eat. And then a Pecorino from Italy. Lovely, 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 lovely. I've just had a great piece. Look at that gorgeous rind. You want to just set that on your tray. It's so simple. Anybody can do this. And one of my favorite tips, whether I'm presenting a tray at home or out, is I line everything up in the order that I think we're going to eat it and drink it, and it helps me remember what everything is. So these are going to be for our reds, and then look what I found for our whites. This is a California chèvre, a goat cheese with edible flowers that are on it. I think that is going to be amazing. I'm going to set that one over there, and then I have this beautiful, beautiful French, also a goat cheese that's herbed. Beautiful on both sides. We're gonna set that right there. And then my last one is gonna be a San Andre, which is a much stronger cheese.
The classic Italian antipasti has made its way across the globe as an entertainer's go-to starter.
We've come to the end of the cooking part, and I'm ready for our alfresco lunch. Let me show you just a few things that I have, a little antipasta, if you will. And I'm gonna just finish this off, these artichokes right here. They're just grilled artichokes. You saw me do the peaches, I did the same thing. This is a gorgeous hunk of gorgonzola. You know how I love gorgonzola. Some salami, some garlic, some peppers, some more olives, and look at all this beautiful roasted garlic. And what I'm just finishing up is with this antique bread cutter from Europe. I'm just finishing actually putting some bread in here. That's gonna be for the goat cheese. I'm gonna serve it in a tile. I've got some balsamic and some olive oil for dipping. We've got our gray salt right here, and this will tie them over until we get everybody to the table. Everybody grab some, dig in. Grab some bread, help yourself. Oh, and taste these. I know you love these. These are absolutely killer. Who likes the hot stuff?
Give me one.
Herb. My Latin friends always love that. There you go. Very good, very good. Oh, and I know, Jim, this is gonna be one of his favorites, a little roasted.
The whole thing.
No, you want the whole thing at once? So you know what's great about this is that you can take the garlic and just take it out and spread that on a piece of bread. Is that first dibs?
That's great.
A little bit of love, and that's for Josh.
He's determined
What's
to
in
get us
here?
dripping with oil.
I know,
isn't he?
I know. You got life without olive oil is just,
No life at
there's
all.
no life at all. Isn't
It
that the
keeps-
truth? You like that? You want some more roasted garlic? Okay, first rule, when you serve garlic, everybody has to eat it because they all cancel out. We don't have to worry about the breaths.
Brunch and breakfast starters are just as important. This melon shrimp skewer is not only a time saver, but works all through the day into cocktail hour.
Well, I said it's a beautiful morning in San Francisco, and I'm a believer when it comes to brunch to having something ready right away when the guests walk in. And we've got this really simple, fresh, that says breakfast and lunch option, and it's gonna be handed to them when they have their champagne cocktail. And it's simply a beautifully boiled chilled shrimp and honeydew kebab drizzled with some fantastic mesquite honey. I went to school in Tucson, Arizona, and you've probably heard me refer to my good friends, Bill and Jeanette. Jeanette was the best brunch maker in the world. She had so much passion in that kitchen, and she always taught me about great flavors and how to make them combine. But when I have the memory of the desert, and you know, I cook from my memory, I always remember the smell of mesquite and mesquite honey. And nowadays, you could have fantastic honeys, lavender, mesquite, clover, anything. And the smell of this, I think, is going to be a perfect combination. If you've ever been to the high desert in the Sonora Desert in Arizona, the smell of the mesquite is amazing after a rain. And this honey has that exact same scent. So every time I smell this and eat it, it really brings me back to a wonderful place and time in my life. It takes me back to nature, and it takes me back to the love at Jeanette's house and the full-bodied flavor of this honey. This is so simple. The skewers that you can get anywhere are these, and these are the bamboo skewers that every major chain grocery store carries right by the section where they have the spatulas and the spoon. These are simple bamboo skewers. Now, if we were cooking these, we'd want to soak these in water first so that when they hit the grill, the wood doesn't burn. So the first thing we do is we get ready to cut up our melon. And I'm going to take the seeds right out of the middle with a spoon, take our beautiful, beautiful melon. You know, with being able to import produce from many countries, it's often easy to get fantastic fresh melons year-round. If not, you may want to substitute a cantaloupe, pineapple for this, whatever you'd like, but wow, that's honeydew. Oh, that's so fresh. Look at that. Can you see that color in there? That's what I want my guests to see and smell right when we get this in their hand. So that's it. We just clean that out. We'll set it aside. And we'll put our honeydew on our chopping block. We always want to take the rind off it. And usually what I like to do is just go right in the haft to begin with. And then just simply take that and roll your knife right around the bottom. You may get it all in one try. You may not. It's not a problem. It's just about friends. It's Sunday morning and we want to make it nice and simple. Okay, so there's a little bit left. Rind has to be all the way off. It's a bitter flavor that was there to protect all the goodness inside. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do 1 slice, 2, 3, and 4. That's simple. Anybody can do that. Grab your kebab and always put the biggest piece on the bottom because when they hold up their kebab, you don't want it falling down, okay? So it's kind of the foundation, if you will. We're gonna build this up. This is the fun part, I always love that. So, a honeydew, a kebab. These are very light, not heavy bites. And we're gonna do just 2 on each one. Remember that this is just something to hand to them with their glass of champagne or their eye opener as they come in. pull that right up to the top so that looks beautiful. And these go so fast, you know, you can just put them together. Easy to do these the night before. If you want to hold them in the fridge, make sure you drizzle some fresh lemon juice over the melon so that it doesn't turn on you overnight. We'll probably plan on 2 per person, but that's about it. 1 more, and I think that'll be enough to get us started. I'll finish these up. And the last thing that we'll do, we'll come back to our shrimp and our honeydew, and we'll drizzle with our mesquite honey right over the top of those. And where our breads were in our refrigerator, this will now take the place, so we have plenty of room and we'll be ready for our guests to arrive any moment. You guys, I'm going to start you off with, we have a beautiful shrimp and melon, which I know some people don't eat shellfish, so I always have to ask, is there anybody here who doesn't eat shellfish?
That would be me.
That would be you. Okay, well, Shosh, well, you'll
Sorry
just
about
watch
that.
and you'll enjoy it. I should have made one with just honeydew, so next time remember to do that at your house, all right? Anyways, this has mesquite honey on it. They're absolutely lovely. Help yourself, everyone. Grab one.
Go to entertainingpeople.com for all these recipes and join me next time as I entertain the world one table at a time.